Hello everyone, welcome to yet another video. This is White Collar Forex Academy, the home of professional trading. So we're back with another part of our 7 years of trading lessons series. And in this episode, we are going to tackle a topic that is very controversial and that might rub people up the wrong way. But yeah, so today we'll be talking about trend lines, guys. So, everybody knows trend lines. When you're first introduced to Forex trading as a beginner, most of the time you are going to be introduced to the concept, or almost every time you're going to be introduced to the concept of trend lines, right? So, what do I want to talk about in terms of trend lines, right? So, I want to talk about the fact that trend lines are not a strategy, right? So, before you guys attack me, I'll just explain further. So, what I mean by saying trend lines are not a strategy is that you cannot use trend lines in isolation and call them a strategy, right? You need to first understand the backbone of the market, which is price structure and supply and demand, right? Without those two, you cannot have trend lines themselves. So that's what I mean when I say trend lines are not a strategy. They cannot be used in isolation, right? So let's get into the chart so I can explain the concept in depth and actually show you guys that I'm not just randomly talking and I actually have proof of what I'm saying and I understand the concept and yeah, basically just explain what I actually mean, right? So we are on the NZD CAD chart, right? So let's say I was a trendline trader, right? So let's say I was a trendline trader and I just decided to plot my trend line, right? So I plot my trend line just like that. And yeah, there we go. Obviously, at first sight, this looks pretty solid, right, for a trend line trader. But yeah, let me tell you the two issues that I have with trend line trading. Number one, it's very subjective. What I mean by that is the way you draw a trend line and the way I'm going to draw a trend line as a trend line trader will be quite different, right? Even though we're plotting on the same chart, same time frame, same pair, right? Which makes the whole strategy itself questionable because how are we on the same chart, same pair, using the same strategy, but our trend lines are not the same, right? They're not plotted in the same way. So that's my first issue with trend line trading. Number two is that with trend line trading, you might end up entering trades way later than you actually have to, right? For example, here, right? This was the first touch point. You before you can plot a trend line, you're gonna probably wait for another touch point, right? So chances are, if you don't enter here, you're probably gonna start entering here and maybe again here, right? So you have missed all these entries here, right? So that's my other problem. You don't always catch all the moves that you should be catching, right? So unlike if unlike when rather you were a supply and demand trader, right? Let's say you were a supply and demand trader. When price got here, right? When price got here, had price had any intention of continuing up, we would have gotten another um, higher high, right? High low, higher high. But price did not and came down here. Obviously, we wouldn't enter here because we wouldn't know what price is intending to do. Rather, we would then wait for price to give us another lower high. And then at that lower high, we would then plot our supply zone, right? Let me just check if it's accurate. Right, yes. So we will then plot our supply zone, hoping that price comes up to test that zone. And what happened? Price came and price tested that zone and we went down. So as supply and demand traders, we would automatically be in this trade right here as early as possible. Once price gave us a lower low and a lower high, we then plot our supply and demand zones, wait for a test, and enter our cells, right? So, and then same thing again, we wait for price to give us a lower low, which price did, and a lower high, right? And then we plot our um, supply zone at the higher high, I mean at the lower high rather, sorry. And then we wait for a test. And what happened? It tested, price came down, right? So all the way from here, you'd be in that sell trade right there. So you'd be selling for all these weeks right here, right? So that's what I'm saying. And it all goes back to me saying what moves price is price structure, right? That's what moves price. So now let's go back again and draw our trend line again. So here's our trend line. So let's imagine that you are a trend line trader, right? There we go. So price went down like you see, and then when price got here, price failed to give us a lower low. So it came down, gave us this low, went up a bit, gave us a low, but that low couldn't beat this low. So that's when you start being um vigilant and you look out for these signs. Then you start understanding that this is a sign that price might be changing direction or momentum, right? So as a trendline trader, I believe you would wait for a break of trend line, test, right? And then you enter. But where is the trend line test here? Now that's the question, right? Whereas as a supply and demand trader, once you see that price fails to break the low here, you would then start plotting your zones and waiting for a test. So you plot and wait for a test. You don't do anything until you get a test of that zone. So I would plot my zone right there. So price would not test this zone as you can see, but then we wouldn't force the trade. And what we would rather do is we would then wait for price to give us a higher low, right? So where is our high low? Here is our higher low, and our high low left behind a zone. Here's a zone right there. We then wait for price to test that zone, and price tested that zone and went up. So what then? Same thing. You wait for another higher low, which is this one, and then you plot your zone and wait for price to come test your zone, right? So now we just wait for price to come test this zone and go up. So with this information, knowing what actually moves the markets, you can then, for confluence, plot your zones. You understand? I mean, plot your trend lines, and then it starts to make sense that this is the reason that I actually plotted my trend line. It was not just randomly placing points without knowing the basis of those points, guys. So this is something I teach extensively. I teach you how to look at the markets for what they actually are and for what actually moves the market, right, guys? So what moves the market is Number one, most importantly, price structure, right? In an uptrend, we have, as simple as this concept might be, it's very crucial because with my strategy is interconnected, meaning every concept that is in the strategy is connected to the other, right? So that it makes sense and it um combines into a powerful strategy, right? So what I mean by this is I focus on price structure. Without price structure, I do not have zones, right? Like I said, for us to get supply zones, we need lower highs. That's where we plot our supply zones. For us to get demand zones, we need higher lows. That's where we plot our demand zones. So you can see how the two work hand in hand, right? Also with the trend line will now connect the zones, price structure to create the actual trend line. So everything is connected. Nothing is used in isolation. So that's what I mean when I say trend lines are not necessarily a strategy, but rather a means of confluence or um, a tool to assist you in solidifying your views in the market or your analysis rather. So guys, that's what the video is about. If you found this video useful or informative or you have any questions, please do comment in the comment section, and also don't forget to comment how many years you've been in the Forex industry. This is where Color Forex, the home of professional trading. And if you guys do want to be in contact with me or just want to follow my Facebook page where I give daily daily Forex tips rather, you can follow my page on Facebook. It's Euro USD King. So that's Euro USD space King. I will attach the screenshot to my Facebook page on the screen. Also, I will attach the link to my Facebook page in the description box. Like I said, thank you guys for watching till another episode of 7 years of trading lessons. Thank you very much for watching. I am out.